Now, our parents felt that they had to slog away in a job for 25 or 30 years, retire, maybe get a pension, maybe get the gold watch, and then start living once they were in retirement. And sadly, a bunch of them, once they retired, they keeled over with a heart attack and they weren't able to enjoy the life. We've seen the last two generations, boomers and millennials, say, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not my path. I want more, and I want it now. More and more people are getting a college degree and then never working in the field in their major. Many more people are not even going to college at all because they're finding that that is a great way to spend 4 years and basically have fun, which is a good thing to do, but it not necessarily get them to what it is that they're passionate about and what they want to do. More people, especially the millennial generation, are joining the FIRE movement, FIRE. I'm sure you've heard of it and I've talked about it, but it's the financial independence, retire early. But you know what? You pretty much have to have a job that pays six figures and then work like a dog for a few years, saving money and being super frugal in order to get there. You have to not enjoy life and to be able to enjoy life later. But then even those who say they're retired, they're not really retired. Yeah, they're traveling and they're enjoying life a lot more, but they're making some money from a side hustle. They're blogging. They are doing stuff with their blog with affiliate marketing, lots of ways to do it. But the main goal that they have, which I am a full believer in, is to enjoy life while you have it. You know, a lot of folks think about what it is that they want to do before they die. You know, often called their bucket list. A bucket list, as in, what do you want to do before you kick the bucket? Do the stuff they dreamed of, or do the stuff they always wanted to do. And that could be jumping out of an airplane. That could be climbing Mount Everest. You know, maybe it is going to Machu Picchu. Maybe it's going on a safari in Kenya. Stuff. So, but why wait until you're older to do that, right? Maybe a coach can help you change your habits and thinking and your mindset, and a coach can help you get there. A coach like me, a financial coach, a financial life coach, who will say, hey, this is one of your goals for your bucket list. Now we've got that as a vision, not just a dream, but make it a vision, and we'll make it a goal. And then we will figure out the steps with what you have right now to help you get there. You know, many years ago, there was a young man in Canada. He dreamed of being a comedian, and, you know, his dad was kind of funny and performed, but he really didn't have the courage to do anything more. And basically, he slogged away at his job as an accountant. He wanted to support his family. Well, this young man wanted to do the same thing and perform, and he thought he was kind of funny too, even though he hadn't stood out to anybody at that point. And anyway, his son vowed not to be like his father. He would follow his own dreams. And here's the biggest key. He figured if he was going to fail at something, he might as well fail at doing what he loved the most. Now, think about that. That's actually kind of profound. And we've heard about failing forward and failing forward faster. And that means trying different things. If you fail, you move on to the next. You try something else. If you fail, you move on to the next. And that is accelerated. It's failing forward faster and trying a business. But this is really one of the biggest paradigm shifts, I think, in this century, and I'm a huge believer in it and have lived my life by it in many ways. If you're going to fail at something, you might as well try first doing what it is that you love. And if you fail at that, then you can move on to something else. But if you don't fail at it, it's amazing. The sky can be the limit. Little by little, this young comedian pursued his dream, and one day he wrote himself a check for $10 million, and in the little corner he wrote, for services rendered for movies, and he stuck it in his wallet. You know, less than 10 years later, he was paid $10 million for a movie. You can call it law of attraction, you can call it dreaming, you can call it having a vision and a goal, but he actually achieved it. And instead of failing, he succeeded wildly. Now, you've probably heard that story before. It was Jim Carrey who became one of the most successful comedians and movie stars in comedy of our time. So I'm here to encourage you to look at what it is that you really love to do and go pursue it. And truthfully, that's the story of many people in Hollywood. I mean, doesn't everybody come to Hollywood with a dream and stuff? And they dream of becoming a star, becoming, sometimes even a makeup artist, maybe a rock and roll person, and so many of them succeed. And now, of course, we have YouTube, and I'm on YouTube, and there's a whole bunch of people who are making millions of dollars from YouTube. They didn't have to go to college. They just have to take advantage of the technology that is here And they tried it, and if they failed, they would have done something else. But they love doing it, and they're not failing, they're succeeding at it. So again, think about it. Why do you work? Why do you earn money? Why do you have the career that you have? Do you like it? Does it give you what you want? Is the cost of doing that job worth it to you, to your financial and physical and emotional and family health? Why not consider something else? Are you doing something just because you're supposed to do it? So how can you change your life and make your life easier on yourself? I have a friend and a fellow investor who's an attorney. Her name is Monique Holm. Now, Monique went to law school, graduated, got a great job at a law firm, and she was making well into six figures. But here's the thing. She hated it. She absolutely hated it. So she went out to expensive dinners and she took expensive vacations. And you know what? She felt like she was justified in spending that money and spending big to play big because she deserved it for working at the job that she hated. But it took such a toll on herself and her family and her kids and her mental health doing something that she hated that she decided she had to make a change. I don't know if you've ever felt that yourself, but I have. Sometimes you need to spend to reward yourself, but other times you just need to do something to reward yourself for what it is that you're doing. Well, Monique found real estate, got a life coach, and she turned her life around. And she found that she especially loved using her money to grow her money, not for dinner and for clothes, but she studied investing primarily in apartment buildings with her husband, and now she teaches it to others, loves what she does, travels, and the passive income exceeds what she made as an attorney. But it really helps you if you have a fund to help you while you pursue all that and that kind of lifestyle. And that's where I come in as your financial coach. Do you want more out of life? Do you want more money to pursue what you want? Are you and your partner on the same page? Well, call me at 626-460-1188. That's 626-460-1188. 626-460-1188. And let's see if we can't get you on a different path. Now, you know, as I said earlier, a lot of folks think about what they want to do before they die, often called their bucket list. Doing what they always wanted to do before they kick the bucket and do the stuff they dreamed of or always wanted to do. Well, guess what? My guest today is a bucket list coach, and and I are very much on the same page about life. Her name is Cindy Lee, and she's found a fairly unique way of combining your bucket list with your life right now. A few years ago, after many, many years in kitchens around the country and at high-level resorts and hospitality locations, Cindy turned in her chef's toque for a rewarding career that's really near and dear to her heart. She's always been a mover, a shaker, and a go-getter, and she's known to wear many hats. She's a podcaster and a blogger and a travel agent and a social media coach, as well as a bucket list coach. You know, she's not only a goal setter, but she's also a jet setter, and having years of fun vacations, cruises, foodie destinations, and bucket list excursions encourages her to aspire to help others to do the same thing to make memories. It's no surprise that her biggest desire in life is to help others break through their barriers, just like I try to do, so that they too can enjoy life's adventures. I'm really delighted today to welcome Cindy Lee, whose motto is, like we talked about earlier, there's nothing like doing what you love to do and getting paid for it too. Good morning, Cindy. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted that you can do this. And, you know, let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do as a bucket list coach and how it is that you have made that one of, if not your main life's passions. Tell us your story and how'd you get started?
I actually, as you mentioned in the bio, I was a chef for 25 years. Also had a housekeeping business that I was doing while I was cooking in restaurants and hotels. And I wanted something that was going to be more rewarding because I was working weekends, I was working overtime, and it's not really something I wanted to do the rest of my life. And then I started to get arthritis. So I wanted to just find something that was just going to be amazing. And I wanted to start living. I existed most of my life.
Well, and that's no way to be, just in existence. And we've done that. So how did you decide to get started in the travel space? And your business is Bucket List Coach Travel and Tours, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I actually got into travel starting in 2012. I was a part of a travel club, and I did that until 2018. But I asked myself that I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more. And so now I'm a travel agent. I'm with the American Travel Bureau here in Southern California, and it's been an absolute amazing adventure.
Isn't it kind of amazing how we come to realize something in our 30s and 40s, especially late 40s, I think that there's more to life than what we're doing. So, and it's never too late to make a change, right?
Exactly. Yes. Continue on your bucket list, your career bucket list.
Okay, so now you are doing something as a travel agent and a coach, but you help people realize their bucket list. Now, do you do that through excursions, or do you do that through talking to them, finding out what it is that they want? Do you have packages put together? How do you do
I
that?
do everything customized. Yeah. So some of my specialty areas are California. I like to do stuff in Florida, Las Vegas, and especially Mexico, Hawaii, and cruises. So for my clients, I will book anything they want, but I do have those specialty areas.
Okay. Now, we've been locked down with the pandemic, and COVID-19 has really affected travel, and I'm sure it's affected your travel and your business too, isn't it? What have
Yes,
you
it has.
done to change things? Or there been local travel excursions?
Yes, I'm glad that you asked that. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today, first I want to talk about a little bit about my fun bucket list. So I'm actually connected to this company here in Southern California. It's called Corks and Canvas OC. My good friend Sonia owns the business. So what she does is she goes into homes and she does a painting party, like a little wine and paint. And then I also have my friend Tirza at the Tirza Factor, and she does online watercolor classes, so which is really great for your fun bucket list because it's interactive.
And how are those being done? Is that through Zoom?
I believe so, yeah, through Zoom. You could just go to the Tirza Factor, the TirzaFactor.com, and you could get her information to RSVP for her upcoming class.
Okay, now one of the things you also have talked about, not just with a bucket list, but tourism or volunteering. And I know you're a big volunteer. The Surfrider Foundation is one thing that you are passionate about, I know. And tell us a little bit about your surfing experience. If you're like, I love that story.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so I just turned 55 last year, and back in 2018, I met Rocky McKinnon. He owns the McKinnon Surf and Sup lessons. So I took my first surf lesson the end of July, and it actually was very scary. It was a part of my first bucket list. And just to let you know, I'm not really a swimmer. I could paddle around in the pool, but in the ocean, no. But I didn't, and he actually challenged me to go further out. And the one thing that he asked me, he looked right at me, and he said, "Do you trust me?" I said, "I definitely do." He goes, "Okay, we're going further out." And it was the most amazing experience, next to my skydiving experience from a couple years ago. But it was so blissful. Everybody must learn to surf. I can't tell you how amazing it was.
Well, it sounds like it was also kind of a life experience and challenged you to go farther than you thought you could.
Exactly. Push the limits.
Is that something that you do when you're talking to people as a bucket list coach and helping them to realize what their life desires have been?
Yes, different types of bucket lists. So you have your fair bucket list, you have your fun bucket list, of course, career bucket list, business bucket list. There's so many different types of bucket lists. But my biggest fear bucket list is really what I want to talk to my clients about, because a lot of people are fearful of certain things. But once you do it, you can do it over and over. And that's really the only way to overcome your fear, is to do it. Mark it on your list and make it happen.
Isn't that the truth? And that's so true of business, too. Definitely true of skydiving. That's an amazing thing, because once you commit to that, you pretty much have no choice. What happened? You're going out that airplane and you're skydiving. You can't stop it.
Yeah, and it all depends. I actually went out of San Diego, Skydive San Diego, and when they land the plane, I mean, they do a nosedive almost before they land because it's in a canyon. So you pretty much have to jump out of the plane. And I almost didn't go, but actually the instructor said, "No, sounds like go to me." I'm like, "Okay, let's strap up and let's go." And it was the most amazing experience. Jumping out was scary, but then you feel like you're floating. You don't really feel like you're falling.
I agree. I think it's a matter of perspective because I did some skydiving a long time ago. And it's like when you can't really have a perspective of the size, you can't see cars or buildings. It's not like when we're here on the ground, we're like, whoa, that's a long way down from that building. When you're up in an airplane, you really just don't know kind of how high you are. It's just a matter of, as Yoda says, we either do or don't do, right? There is no try.
Yeah.
You know? Just have to do that. So it sounds like there's a lot of things that right now you can still do locally, or you can arrange for some fun excursions for people for their bucket list. Is that true?
Oh, definitely. Catalina right now is closed until March, but there's so many great excursions that I could book clients on. Right now, actually, as of tomorrow, I'm going to be going to the Midway Museum in San Diego because I'm an agent with the Viator Excursion Company. So there is some things
Mm-hmm.
open. Right now, Catalina is a little closed, but anybody who wants to book with me, we could start looking at stuff in March.
Okay, well, it's been a little bit chilly lately, but what about surfing or skydiving? Could you arrange those things as well?
Chili does not matter when you're wearing a wetsuit. Yeah, so the wetsuit protects you. You could also wear little booties that'll help, like certain areas of California, like at Dana Point, a little south Orange County. It's a little bit rocky. But Rocky McKinnon with the McKinnon Surf and Sup lessons, he also does a pay it forward. So anybody who has special needs, he'll take them out on a surfboard as well. He has a special chair for those with special needs.
Okay, now I know that you also volunteer with a couple of different things. The Best Day Foundation, that's one of your newest ones. Tell us about that a little bit.
I actually heard about the Best Day through my surf coach, Rocky McKinnon, and it's very similar to what he's doing. It's a program for people to go out and be out in the water and with disabilities, and you could also be what's called a beach buddy. So you could actually pair up with someone for the day. It's a pretty amazing experience. And of course, right now they're closed due to COVID. But I will be posting on my blog when that goes back live again.
And that's for both adults and children with disabilities, right? If I
Correct.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty cool. So I'm really curious, what is it that made you, besides the fact that you were having a life that wasn't necessarily what you wanted, because I know with restaurants, we've done that too. You may work till midnight, 1 or 2 in the morning, get up late
Oh,
because
yeah.
you can't just go to bed then, right? Just like people who work 9 to 5 don't come home and go right to bed, right? You need some downtime, which leaves weird times during the day when other people are working. Then, of course, weekends you're working. Now, you said that, that wasn't quite the life. When did you decide to make a shift? And did it feel scary to you to do that? And what did you try first?
Well, I was just seeing my life flash. I was having some medical issues, and I just told myself, I need to go out there. I need to quit existing because all I was doing was working, working, working. I wasn't enjoying life. And it was just a roller coaster of work. That's all I would do. I never got to have any kind of fun. And that is what's so important. And one of my taglines is make the most of the dash. So which means there's that dash from when you're born until you pass away, and you got to do whatever you can to make a legacy, create a legacy, and just go out and do things. And even if you're afraid, even if it's not for you, try it at least one time. Go out there and make your list.
I love that. And you're saying a dash, like a hyphen, the hyphen between life and death. Am I
Correct.
understanding that right, correctly?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that is the time that's allotted to us, right? So you might as well enjoy it when you're here. So was it scary,
Exactly.
or was it just like, I have to make this decision, and then it became easy because you didn't really have a choice because of your physical limitations that you were starting to experience?
I just told myself what I wanted, and I made it happen.
I love that. That's great. Making a decision, not saying I can't. So how did you develop the bucket list concept? And we know well what a bucket list is and what you wanted to do, but you mentioned several different types of bucket lists. Tell us a little bit more about that, the different ones that you kind of have developed.
So for the fun bucket list, I like doing the paint and pine or the paint and wine. Matter of fact, I have one coming up here probably in a couple months. We're kind of waiting for COVID to kind of slow down a little bit. and we're going to do a theme party from the Eat, Play, Love movie. So we'll be doing the food that was featured in the movie. Plus, we'll be doing a painting of the backdrop of Bali with Eat, Pray, Love on the front of the painting.
That's very cool. And that is on a fun bucket list. Do you just ask people what it is that they want to do for fun, like if you're coaching them? And if
Or
you're
I'll
saying,
come up
hey,
with
what is it that
different
you
things.
want out of life?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
And then you put together a plan for them or work with them to put together a plan?
Yes, we'll just go over different areas of what they're looking for. Like, say, for instance, if they want to go to, let's say, Cabo San Lucas, and I'll give them some ideas on where they can stay, some of the things they could do, like for their food bucket list. If they like tequila, there's a great tequila tasting. They could do the Cabo Arch Tour. There's a big pirate dinner cruise that's a lot of fun. There's just so many things that they could do. So based on where they want to go, I'll create their trip, their hotel, their flight, and any kind of excursions that they may be interested in.
So you can actually help them have fun by creating all the different things in your role rather as a travel agent, and you can book the tours and excursions.
Correct.
So, what about a business bucket list? What is that?
Business bucket list. So it's something that you want to achieve for your business. As an example, there is an event that you and I attend every couple months. It's called Networking Riches, and it's our mentor who's actually talking about ways to build your business by learning the follow-up tools, by learning like how to follow up, how to stay in touch, that type of thing.
And anybody who does multi-level marketing, they call MLMs or network marketing, which I think is more the correct term, I know gets a tremendous amount from it. Casey Eberhardt, who runs that, has been a guest on the show, and I hope that he will again. And definitely, he's a fantastic individual, mentor, like you said, to both of us. So what's one of the ways that you keep in touch and both network yourself, market yourself, and do it in a fun, non-kind of businessy way? It's not just exchanging business cards, right?
Well, yeah, I do a digital business card, and I also like sending out a brownie and a card, like after I meet with someone. Like today, I'll send you a nice brownie and card in the mail after our meeting. Just showing that you care in the mailbox. And an email actually has ways that you could actually get viruses if you send someone like an e-card. So I just like to bless people by sending something in the mail.
And you'll probably get one too, because I like to appreciate my guests and on there. So how do you do that? What program does that?
Oh, the company is called Mailbox Power. So it's a online gratitude platform. So you could create the brownies, any kind of popcorn. I mean, there's so many different things that we have that we could send somebody. I like making the mugs. We have some custom mugs that we could make. And so basically you just create the product online. You add the person's address and you click send, and the company will do the rest for you.
That's pretty simple, sounds like. And I've seen a couple examples of mugs that you've designed too, which have been about people or even about some of the excursions that they've done or the trips and travel you've done.
Correct. I like doing coasters as well. One of my clients that I've actually met on Facebook that ended up being at the resort the same week that we were at, I told her, make sure that you take pictures of your trip. And so after the trip, I sent her brownies and coasters to match, and they had 4 different pictures of all the excursions and then pictures of the hotel.
Okay. Now, you have expanded what you do, I know, into a podcast, and you're also a blogger, and you do a Facebook Live show, right?
I do. Actually, today is one of my shows. It's called Ask Cindy Connector Live, and what I do is I pay it forward to small businesses and nonprofits. Then actually starting next month, I'm going to be getting the Bucket List Coach web show back live again, now that a lot of stuff is opening up for COVID.
Kramer, who is one of the people that you hear about, I think it's on CNBC, one of the financial guys, and there are several other people saying that travel is going to be the number one things that people are going to flock to once more restrictions are lifted. I personally believe that cruise line stock is a good investment because they've been very low, and the ships have been in dry dock. And I think that's probably one of the biggest, most pent-up desires is for people to get back out on the ocean and cruising. Would you agree?
Definitely. I'm actually going to wait until next year. I'm going to be sailing on the brand new Princess that leaves out of San Pedro the first week of March. I'm kind of holding off for this year because there is some restrictions, and yeah, it's just safer to wait until next year.
And that's true. But you can find out, and people can find out about that on your Bucket List Coach web show, right? As well as your podcast.
The
Now, you
blog
and I
as
talked
well.
about also about some of the other stuff with the business bucket list that companies can actually use your services also for whether it might be sales incentive trips or morale building exercises. You know, even we've all seen some of these things. It could be down on the beach where people are supposed to do an obstacle course or, you know, stand and then fall backwards and trust their teammates to catch them. Is that something that you see coming back more when we have restrictions lifted?
Well, one of the things that we can do currently is you could actually book a surf lesson or a paddleboard lesson with Rocky McKinnon at McKinnon Surf, because he is doing something like that for nonprofits and also small businesses who want to get a little employee morale, get out there, get some vitamin D, and, you know, create some memories together.
Oh, that's great. Sunlight is good. And that has got a lot of social distancing, right? If you're on a paddleboard or a surfboard, you're definitely more than 6 feet away from your colleague. So that sounds like a kind of neat thing a business can put together through you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I want to have that. So tell us a little bit more about your podcast and your show. What is it that you talk about and blog about?
The travel podcast or the entrepreneur podcast?
Tell us about the entrepreneur podcast first, and then the travel podcast.
So the entrepreneur podcast, basically, I'm kind of similar to what we're doing here. I just ask how they got started, you know, a little bit on their backstory. What is their business about? How can I connect them to my sphere of influence? It's just a way to pay it forward, especially during COVID. And a lot of people are on Zoom and, you know, building their business that way. So I just wanted a vehicle to be able to connect people to my sphere of influence.
Well, you are a connector, that's for sure. And one of the more active ones during this time of lockdown. We have to keep connected. And then your other one with the travel podcast?
Bucket List Coach Web Show Live, and is where I interview other bloggers, or I interview someone here in Southern California who runs an excursion company like McKinnon Surf or Skydive San Diego or any of my my local suppliers.
Okay, and how would somebody tune in to hear you?
We're actually on hiatus because of the COVID, but I will be doing some announcements. You could just go to the Bucket List Coach Web Show on Facebook and YouTube, and you'll see the updates there.
Okay, but you're still doing the other podcast, right? The entrepreneur.
Yes, I do.
Or you do
the
your
podcast
live show on Facebook
Friday.
Live?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Facebook and YouTube, just like this show.
Now, I understand that you were featured on ABC, Channel 7, locally here. Tell us about that.
Oh, yes. So I'm a co-volunteer coordinator for the Surfriders Foundation of Huntington Beach, Seal Beach. And this year, we have kind of had some changes with the Surf City Splash. Normally, we run into the ocean. There's like 500 to 1,000 of us, but because of COVID, we actually did solo splash. So people would go and do a splash. They would donate to the Surfriders Foundation. So a few of us from Surfriders just had a guest appearance on the ABC7 to talk about it.
How very neat. And that's on YouTube, right? Let me look at that.
That's on YouTube. It's also on Facebook. Yes, it's on all the outlets, all the platforms.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that would be looking you in Facebook, Cindy Lee?
Bucket List Coach Web Show.
Bucket List Web. Say that again?
Bucket List Coach Web Show.
Bucket List Coach Web Show. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's excellent, because I know you do some other stuff a couple times a week, and I look forward always listening to your blog and your podcast stuff. Now, do you encourage people, is it possible for people to book something right now for 6 months or 9 months out with you if they wanted to say, oh my gosh, I can't wait, and I expect to be vaccinated, and all the other people are vaccinated, and I want to go somewhere in September or October? Are you taking advanced bookings?
I would definitely say so. As a matter of fact, I'm doing my annual Cabo trip, which is during the Black and Blue fishing tournament, which is one of the largest fishing tournaments in the world. And so we like to be around there just to see all the beautiful yachts, see all the fish that's caught. And that's actually going to be October, in mid-October. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a really great experience because we'll take you downtown on the marina. We'll be at the Riu Palace Cabo Resort, and a lot of excursions that we're partaking in.
That is so cool. And I love fishing personally. I would love to. Maybe I'll join you on that trip. Be good.
Yes,
A
you
goal
should
for
join me in
myself.
Vegas as well.
So let me ask you one final question. Do you like what you're doing now better than you did cooking or working as a chef and working in restaurants?
100%. It's so important to do what you love.
And you can continue to do what you love and make a living at it, right?
Correct.
And that's one of the things that I really want everybody to take away from this. And I know that Cindy believes that same thing. You know, would you say live the dash, live that hyphen in between birth and death?
Yes,
And that
make
is
the
what your
most of
life
that
is,
dash.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can talk to Cindy. You can reach her. You can look at her Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. Look at Cindy Lee on Facebook. And probably stuff for the Surfrider Foundation. You have that. And you will find out how you too can figure out how to start knocking some things off your bucket list while you're young enough to enjoy them. And you've got the energy and you've got the health. Thank you so much for being a guest today, Cindy. I look forward to seeing you on an excursion and also to having you back on the show.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, and appreciate you too. We're going to take a quick little break now for somebody else who I appreciate, one of my sponsors. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Julie Talks Money on KMET 1490 AM.